tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I created a company called GM Pilot. So what we decided to do is that help general managers by actually taking some work away from them, starting with the most critical thing, which is labor management. No, I've never met a GM that loves building schedules and sitting down and looking to see who's milking the clock and who's showing up on time. So we decided let's do that work for them and help them out. So we decided to become a buddy for the GM. So we launched GM Pilot this year, and it's been working out really fantastically.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's fun because that's what I do, but we're tackling it from completely different angles.
Right.
So what kind of feedback are you hearing?
For us, it's like one of our big clients is like, look, we're going to drop labor from 22% to 70%, and that's going to generate about $10.5 million in profitability for the network. So it's completely changing the way they look at real estate, because now they can take that money and buy better locations and drive higher volumes. So it's a win-win for everybody.
That'll accelerate growth. That's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's fun to see.
Very cool. Yeah. What's your favorite part of it? Like what gets you excited about it? Is it the architecting? Is it seeing the solution in live?
Just seeing the faces of people and like how much opportunity they go from my restaurant's been struggling and now I can turn around and become a growth brand again. So that's been really heartwarming to see.
That's awesome. Yeah. What are you seeing? So the industry's been through a lot over the last half of the decade.
Right.
So at the show at FSTEC this year, every session is like AI.
Right.
And half the time it's not specific. It's just talking about like the cloud, big data, right? Like it's being used as a buzzword. How do you see the AI, right, being actually used in a more useful, specific way in the industry?
I think it's much like if you talk about, well, we use a database. I'm like, that's great, but that's not really the purpose. Naming the, kind of a technology component really isn't the important thing. We really should be talking about what's the outcome, right? What's the value that you're generating by using tech, using innovative thinking, process change management, all that. It's like, what's the outcome? What's the value? And really, how does it affect my bottom line at the end of the day?
Yeah. No, very, very true. What do you see, maybe aside from AI and aside from the automations that are kind of these point solutions that are coming out, what do you see for like restaurant tech as a whole? Like, what do you think is the next big trend that nobody's talking about?
I think, honestly, for me, it's been old hat to think about making better decisions. But again, that's just because of the world I came from. But I think a lot more people are recognizing that you make better decisions, you make them faster, you learn from them, and you loop back again. It's just information science. But that whole idea of like, I'm not going to run my business based on gut feel. I'm actually going to do it based on not a point of information, but a broader, more balanced view of how I'm healthy in terms of the business itself, what I'm doing well, what I'm not, and then just being able to understand yourself better. That, as that understanding of what signals you need to really pay attention to and what are noise, that gets lost. And I think that art is more of a maturity curve that people are going through as they get more and more units. And the better they get at understanding how to read the information and make better decisions, I think everyone's better off for it.
Yeah. So you said the world I came from. Tell me more about the world you come from.
So I came from management consulting. I was originally an engineer in signal processing, so working on mission critical radio systems. Did that crazy nerd stuff. Then in the Y2K era, I was rolling out an ERP system for like the Global 100. Wow. And then in 2012, my daughter really did not like me traveling all over the world, so was looking for an opportunity to stop traveling. I'm in Dallas. I'd never worked here before. I was fortunate enough to get introduced to Brinker, and Annette Green accepted me for an interview. Valerie Davidson gave me an opportunity to get in the industry. I told her I know nothing about this space, but I'll work for you for free for as long as it takes to learn it. She said, you're going to work in the restaurants as long as it takes to learn it, and I'm going to pay you for it. So I got to thank her for giving me the opportunity to be in the industry. And I almost ran away 90 days in because I was like, oh my God, I came from moving supercomputers around and getting those built and deployed around the world. And now I'm dealing with having to, I don't know who's going to show up, what kind of inventory is going to be on hand, who's going to be drunk and not show up to work today. I was like, I don't know how you run this chaos. It's just like absolutely nuts. But Pankaj Patra, who's a dear friend and was my team member at the time, he told me, like, 90 days in, he's like, look, the reason I love this industry is we affect 60,000 people every day by what we do. And when he gave me that, I'm like, okay, I understand like our mission. I now understand like what the value of like things I do, how they affect real people. And because of that, I've stuck around the industry. So it's been fun.
Right. Behind all that nerd stuff, you've got like a hospitality heart. I love it.
Yep. We're here to serve, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. The human touch, the hospitality, or?
Yeah, no, I was going to dive a little bit more on the hospitality. So that's a lot of people in the restaurant technology space come from a background in store, right?
Yeah, right.
So that empathy is kind of baked in. We know what it's like when shit's hitting the fan.
Right.
And then it's been interesting because at this FSTEC, right, we've seen this technology cycle kind of happen where when the pandemic hit, shit was crazy, right? And then there was this rapid technology adoption. Like restaurants had no choice but to just throw in solutions that they didn't necessarily have time to find the best breed for, right? Yeah. And then we've watched the industry stabilize, and the CIOs I talked to are like, "Hey, we're actually about a year ago, we're actually assessing, hey, is this the right solution? Is it actually making, how do I want DoorDash in there?
Yeah.
And now at this FSTEC in 2024, a lot of the CIOs I'm talking to are working with vendors who are not hospitality background people. It's some guy who in his basement cooked up this really neat tool and then accidentally figured out that it's applicable to restaurants and could be a game changer. And these CIOs are super stoked about it. And I think that's the first time I've seen these vendors who are kind of removed from the industry being accepted in the industry. I don't know. I thought that was really cool at this show. One of the things that I'm curious to see is part of that in the industry is a lot of the vendors have been merging. There's a lot going on with VC, PE-backed stuff. Like, what do you think is next for restaurant technology specifically? Maybe like the vendor relationships, or are you hearing something from CIOs that's making you think that there's going to be a new thing coming around the corner that we should all be paying attention to?
I think in general, everyone's always worried about what the tech du jour is of the moment. Like, so I taught, created a course for University of North Texas on blockchain years ago. So at that point in time, it's like, what about crypto? What about blockchain? How do these apply, NFTs, etc. But in the end, it's like, you have to see if the fad or the thing that's going through its hype cycle, if it's applicable, if it really adds value. I think a lot of people bought a lot of gems, over that period of time, but now they have to figure out which gems make a necklace and would make real jewelry. So there's another layer of, let's put it all together and see what kind of art we make out of it.
What would you recommend for CIOs or restaurant groups who find themselves in that position where they're really having to reassess their entire tech stack, maybe for the first time in a few years, and then see what else is available to them?
I think, honestly, we need to go back into the restaurant and see what people are really doing and what people have adopted and what people are bringing their own tech into the building, which wasn't the way things were, let's say, even 5-6 years ago.
Right.
They're whipping out their own phones and doing things on their own or finding paths. Like, I've been with organizations where we didn't create a curated communication platform. We didn't have one at the enterprise level. So everyone picked up the phones and used WhatsApp. Now, can't take it away once they're on it, but how do you keep it safe? Right. So you have to just honestly just go back and be in the building, see what your employees are doing. There's a new generation of workers that are there. Turnover is very high. So by the time you figure out like what I want to do at the enterprise level, it may be all turned over because the new generation, your new workforce is doing something different altogether. So I think stay with them, look at your customer base, understand how, we say all the time, you got to meet the guests where they are. You can't force them to come to you. So it's important to just re-look at where you are, keep a pulse on your business because, in the CIO seat, you're stuck in the ivory tower, you're stuck in meetings and you don't get out to the field enough. And then you start getting disconnected and you may latch onto a path that may not really connect with people that really need your help.
I think it's really good advice. Yeah. No, I think that's really important, especially like on the vendor side for me. I see often whoever's got the purchase decision, right? Is really stoked about a particular feature or function, often that they saw in a promo video for some solution, and then they haven't ever gone to store level and talked to operators, right? There's pros and cons to the buying cycle when you've got that primary stakeholder who's a little bit out of touch versus the committee that a camel is a horse designed by committee, right?
Yes.
So like, what would how should organizations balance those two things, that out of touch stakeholder, right, and trying to pull in a full committee full of people where it ends up getting unwieldy?
I think you got to start with the people that are going to live with whatever decision you made, and I call it pre-change management. Like, change management usually happens after you've selected something and now you're trying to roll it out. So for me, that adoption happens long before you've even had the conversation about selecting a tech platform or a process change. You have to go find out like what's really the thorn in the lion's foot. And if you are finding that right thorn and you're the mouse that pulls it out, then you're the lion's best buddy for life, right? So if you're doing that, then it really doesn't matter, like, does the user interface look beautiful or the right colors, because the overall experience is what we're looking to achieve. So it's, great choices, products, everything else. It goes to die on the vine when someone doesn't understand what's in for them or like why it's making their life better.
Yeah.
And that's what's important.
That makes a lot of sense for sure. What did you get to hit some sessions?
Yes.
What was your favorite?
The presidential one, because it was just hilarious that the presidents were having so much fun going at each other. So,
I heard a lot. I didn't speak on it, but I heard a lot about it.
I voted for Doug. He's got my vote.
Excellent.
Yep. The other guys are great too, but I think Doug's my champion.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, what post FSTEC 24? What are your takeaways from the show that you're going to be like following up or researching?
I think the universal challenges are still there because labor and food costs are universal to everybody. Heard that for the 12 years I've been in the industry, and I'm sure everyone's heard it for the entire time. I mean, that's your prime cost, 60% roughly of what you're doing, and those forces are outside of our control. Labor costs can be driven by government and by competition. We no longer just compete with the other store down the street. We compete with Amazon and delivery drivers for people that are paying, let's say, better money per hour than being in a restaurant. So there's a fight for good talent, the relevant talent that needs to be there, and to keep them there. Food costs are, it's outside of our control as well too. Global commodities, shifting wars. It's like where I was before. I was worried about what's going on in Ukraine because they're the biggest wheat supplier, and we bought a ton of wheat, and that impacted a core product for us.
Right.
But there are all those things that are outside of the building that you have to worry about and do the best you can, given that you can't control everything.
Yeah, that's good advice. I like it. What else do you want people to know about what you're doing today?
For me, what I'm doing today, it's like, if you need to help on labor, give me a call. So gmpilot.com. It's like, we'll help you figure out how you can get better on labor management.
Excellent. Is that the best way for people to get in contact?
Yeah, absolutely. Just hit the website, push the button for a free report. We'll look at your historical data, do an analysis. We'll tell you how you could get better, how much that could be worth to you, and we'll figure it out from there. Now, we don't replace any software. What we are replacing is the need to go hire an assistant general manager because your GM doesn't like doing scheduling or tracking everything down. Like, before you go hire off an assistant GM, give GM Pilot a try, and let's see if we can run that work for you.
I love it. Yeah, no, I'm excited about the partnership, and I think we can. That's one of the places that TimeForge often gets bogged down during implementation. Is we've got COO buy-in, we've got all the top level buy-in, and then we've got the employee buy-in and department manager buy-in, and then the restaurant manager, the GM's just like, cool. I don't do paperwork. I don't want to build the schedule. I never have wanted to. They're going, but you're accountable for the metrics, man. So I think this is good.
Yeah, it's we let general managers get back to being hospitality people,
exactly,
and not to be spreadsheet people, right?